Hi, and thanks for tuning into this session, Build Your Conversational AI with DialogFlow. I am Priyanka Vergadia, developer advocate at Google, and you can follow me on Twitter and Medium at pvergadia related to all things conversational AI. I do a lot of videos and posts along those lines. We have been using voice applications for a long time. I think one of the first ones that came about was around 1950s or so. And at that time, it was not called conversational AI. We have used terms like bots, chatbots, voice bots, IVRs, interactive voice responses. It started off from machines that could recognize as low as 16 words to about 1,000 words, and then to handle specific business problems. IVRs, as we commonly know them, are one of the voice applications too, and they are amongst the ones that have become very, very familiar and common over the last few years. But we can very well attest to the fact that the experience has been not so pleasant in most cases. I'm sure this has happened to every single one of us when calling into an airlines or a bank or any other office for that matter. Why is IVR so frustrating? Well, because it is rigid flowcharts with hard-coded scripts. It is not designed to handle natural, fluent conversations. So why do conversational experiences fail? Well, we already discussed the first one. They are based off of rigid flowcharts. Some of the other reasons can be the use cases are weak, or you are handling too many things and cannot keep context for what the user has said. Or you cannot connect to a human when needed, or worse, lack of proper back-end integrations. But in spite of all of this, conversation is becoming the new user interface or the new UX. And the reason is Internet of Things. The sheer volume of devices that we deal with today, it is very nearly impossible to interact with them visually. We will need to use voice to interact with them. And we already see examples of this. You're driving and you cannot take your eyes off of the road, so you just ask voice assistant in your car to call your mom or to navigate you to your destination. According to Gartner, 50% of enterprises will spend more on bots than traditional mobile app development by 2021, which is next year. And according to a research, chatbots are expected to trim business costs by more than 8 billion per year by 2022. These are enough proof that if you are not thinking about it, then you should get thinking. Now, customer service or contact center is the most obvious use case today, but there are many others like controlling IoT devices or auto or home entertainment, connecting businesses with employees like onboarding help desk or knowledge bases, etc. What is conversational experience? Well, by now you kind of already know, but here goes. Conversational experience is the descriptive or comprehensive name for a new class of solutions that include chatbots, conversational apps, etc. The common denominator is the use of natural language understanding, a type of AI. Natural language understanding technology powers the interactions with humans versus using hard-coded scripts or trees. What is the technology behind conversational AI? NLU, in simple terms, it helps translate human language into computer language and vice versa. Just so we're all clear on the terms that you come across when dealing with conversational AI projects, natural language understanding or NLU is very similar to natural language processing or NLP, but it goes a step further to understand conversations that it hasn't been trained to understand, like errors, spelling mistakes, accents, sentiments, etc., which makes NLU a great fit for chatbots. Now, let's understand how this fits into the broader scheme of things. AI is the broad discipline of creating intelligent machines. ML refers to systems that can learn from experience. Deep learning refers to systems that can learn from experience but on large data sets. And ASR and NLP fall under AI, while machine learning and NLP have some overlap as ML is often used for NLP tasks. ASR also overlaps with machine learning, so it has historically been a driving force behind many machine learning techniques. So in summary, deep learning is a subset of machine learning and both are subsets of AI. ASR and NLP fall under AI and overlap with ML and deep learning. It's amazing how they are all intertwined with each other. So, but kind of good to understand for basics as well. What does it take to actually build a good conversational experience? First, you need to capture the user's intent and create an ML model with maybe thousands of potential questions that your user can ask, then train that model so you can match your user's intent to the right corresponding action. Then you need an easy and efficient way to grab variables, store them, and if they are common variables like dates, times, names, numbers, etc., then you need those to be automatically detected as well. Then you need to set context. This is the most important one. You need to keep track of the conversation and what the user has said 2 seconds ago. For example, what is the weather like in San Francisco tomorrow? And then how about when I say how about today, your bot needs to have the ability to store the context that I'm still talking about San Francisco. Imagine you need to do all that on your own and make sure that it works for all the different channels seamlessly. Then think about the analytics, multiple language support, small talks. The list keeps growing and it's quite big, and all these requirements keep adding up. Knowing all the complexity that you need to worry about in building bots, you need to pick the tools so you can get your conversational experience up and running without too much effort. And that's where DialogFlow comes in. It replaces all the heavy lifting for you. It seamlessly creates an integration with multiple channels and provides options to connect with your backend using HTTP requests. Let's see how you can make an application with DialogFlow with very less coding. So we are logged into DialogFlow console, and if you don't have a DialogFlow account, all you really have to do is to go into dialogflow.com and click on go to console, and you're going to be logged in. And if you are not logged in, you're going to see creating an agent on the left hand side. I have created one here, and that's the demo that I'm going to be doing today. But before we dive into what this agent does and what's happening here, let's first see the actual conversational experience that's built here, and then we'll jump back into DialogFlow and I'll show you how it was all set up. So with that, this is an experience that I have created using DialogFlow, and we're going to test it out with a couple things here. So I'm just going to say hi, which is a general greeting, and this conversational experience should respond back with what actually it can do. So one of the best practices that you should think about is what do you want to let the user know when they come to your experience. In this case, I'm letting them know that this thing can set appointments and help them explore landmarks. Two very random things because it's a demo, but you get the idea. So I'm letting them know that these are the things that they can do. If you choose to keep it open-ended, then they can ask anything, which is where you kind of have to then make sure that you have a lot of different ways in which people are asking different things or what they can come to you for. And so just be cautious of that. So we're going to say set an appointment for 4 p.m. tomorrow. And it should ask me why I want to come in. And I'm going to say, this is Department of Motor Vehicle example here, where I'm saying somebody could come in for a driver's license or a vehicle registration. In this case, I'm saying I'm coming in for a license. And it goes back to the calendar and sets me an appointment and for driver's license. And this is where you can see it. So I'm setting it up for 4 p.m. This is that appointment. And I set another one before I started recording, which was at 3 p.m. So you can see what's going on here. It can also work in a couple of different ways. And that's the beauty. It works as a natural conversation. So now if I don't provide it anything and just say, set appointment, or something very terse like that, and then it would ask me for all the information it needs, which is in this case time, and I'm going to say 1 p.m. for example, and then date, let's say Monday, right? And I could provide a specific date as well if I wanted to. It's cutting off a little bit here, but you're going to be able to see what I type. So in this case, let's just say registration. And now you should be able to see that we have set up another appointment for vehicle registration. But the flow here was person didn't tell you what they're trying to, they're only trying to set an appointment, and then everything else you just asked step by step because they didn't give you that. Now, if they did give you that information, then you, in the first one, for example, they gave me that information with the time and the date, but they didn't give me the third piece, which was why they want to come in, and the bot, the experience that we've created kind of asks for the missing piece of information. What you can also do is say, set an appointment for 2 p.m. tomorrow for license. And that's where I've given all the pieces of information. And so it should be able to say that you're all set for that specific time. And it didn't ask me any further information because it has enough information to actually set an appointment. Now you can see that it has set that up as well. Now, there's one more thing this thing does, which is explore landmarks. So let's just see that part as well. Explore landmarks, and this is where I'm actually sending it. I'm asking the user to upload a file, and let's say I'm actually going to upload a file, and then once they upload that file, you're taking that file and sending it to Vision API, which is the machine learning model that responds back with different things that you might want to look at. In this case, I'm basically asking it to look at if there's a landmark in the file, and in this case, there was Taj Mahal. So it responded back with Taj Mahal, and then. So how is all this set up? Let's see. In DialogFlow, we have what is called as intents, which we saw in our presentation. Intents are all the sets of questions that people can ask. So if I said, when a user's coming in, there's a default intent that any agent, when you create within DialogFlow, comes with a default intent. It kind of deals with hi, hello, how are you type situations, and then you can add more to it. And and the response here is pretty simple. You usually want to respond back for welcome intent with something as simple as what is it that your bot handles. In this case, my agent handles setting appointments and explore landmarks. And you can give different examples of that. So when user comes in, they can see a variety of different responses depending on when they ask the question. And so this is not as interesting. So when we go out and look at schedule appointments, that's the one that's a more interesting one to look at. And this is where I've given it a lot of examples. The examples are, as you can see, I would like to set an appointment for 4 p.m. tomorrow for license. Now, these are variables, or what we call within DialogFlow as entities. Entities are the things that are extracted, or parameters that are extracted to take an action upon. So in this case, if you want to set an appointment, you need the date, time, and the reason for coming in as 3 pieces of information that you would send to your backend, in this case, calendar, to actually set that appointment. Now, DialogFlow is powerful enough because it's powered by natural language processing and understanding that it can say, so when I put an example training phrase in, I want to set appointment for license at 2 p.m. on May 20th, 2020. May is gone, so maybe we just say, let's just say May, right? And when we do that, you see that license 2 p.m. and May 20th, 2020 are automatically set up as date and time variables. You don't really have to do anything. This is by default done by DialogFlow. The only thing that I have created here is appointment type, which is an entity that's custom, because depending on your business and what products, or for example, and what type of service you provide, you might want to create your own entities. In this case, I have created appointment type because for Department of Motor Vehicles, for example, people can come in for license and vehicle registration. If it's a doctor's shop, then it could be something like appointment for, cleaning, or dental, if it's a dentist shop, right? Appointment for dental cleaning. could be for cavity, whatever it is, right? And then those could be appointment types. If it's a pizza shop, it could be toppings. So you kind of have to create your entities depending on what the business is. There's lots of different options here. You could do fuzzy matching, which is very powerful, where it can try and understand. But if it was not licensed but closer to license, then it would kind of try and map it to license, and things like that. And you can also do regular expression, obviously. And that's how appointment is set up. Now, in that when you respond back, we're responding back after going into fulfillment, because we need to call the calendar API. And for backend calls, that's what happens. For backend calls, you need to use some sort of code. In this case, we are going into fulfillment. We're calling our code. And there are a few options here. You can use the inline editor, which is Cloud Functions. Cloud Functions is a serverless platform that allows you to just write a function to get your to get whatever it is that you need to get done in that specific function. It comes by default as an inline editor. You just enable it and you get some boilerplate code, and you add the things that you want to add for your specific use case. In this case, this is the part that you kind of need to understand. The intent map this is the piece of code that I have added and said, if the intent is schedule appointments, then call make appointment function. And then make appointment function is right here. Where's that? Okay, I'm gonna find it at some point. The make appointment function. Okay, here. This is that make appointment function. And what it does is it takes the agent, which we just passed, which is a JSON file, and we are able to take the dates, the time, and the appointment type of what the user has said, and then pass it to create calendar event, which is another function that we've created. And create calendar event is the function that's actually calling the calendar API to set an appointment. And if it doesn't find the time if it finds the time as busy, then it responds back saying there's a conflict. So that's where we're calling the calendar API, the Google Calendar API. Now, for the Vision API example for landmarks, what we're doing here is we're sending it, if there's a file upload intent, which I have in there when the user is uploading the file, and then I apply ML is the function that I'm calling, which I have written here. When I'm just calling Vision API with the bucket name, which is where I'm actually storing the image that the user is uploading, and then calling Vision API on it. And that function itself is pretty simple. All it is doing is calling the Vision API. It's creating an instance of the Vision API, and it's calling landmark detection on top of it on that client, and then responding back with whatever it has detected or found, and that JSON's just being parsed, and I'm looping through it and seeing what the landmarks are. There could be multiple in one, so that's why it returns back with all the things that it sees in the landmarks, and I respond with that back. So with that, that's pretty much kind of an overview of how that demo is working. And then in the integrations, you can enable Google Assistant here. You can enable the experience via phone calls. So you can just say DialogFlow phone gateway, or if you're using any of the other services like Avaya, or you have your own phone number that you want to attach with this for the users to call in and get the same experience, you could do that as well. And we integrate with some other telephony providers as well. And then there's also a way to directly connect the messenger in your app, which is really one click. So what is happening behind the scenes? There's a DialogFlow bot which is hosted on a website using Python Django framework on App Engine. App Engine is a serverless platform which allows you to just write your code and deploy it without worrying about servers and infrastructure and scale. It just scales for you. It then uses Google Cloud Storage to store the static files, images, etc., and then connects to DialogFlow via the Detect Intent API and then identifies the user's intent. If the user requested to set an appointment, it identifies it as an appointment scheduler intent, and the Cloud Function webhook calls the Calendar API to set the appointment and respond back to the user with whatever is the scheduled appointment. If the user requested landmark exploration, then it identifies as explore landmark intent, and then the Cloud Function calls Vision API to find out what is in that image, gets a response for that, and sends to user with through the web API, web app, as to what the response was. So we saw that using DialogFlow, you can build conversational experiences faster, engage end users more efficiently, and maximize reach across geographies and platforms using support for multiple languages, pre-built agents, and easy one-click integrations. Building a great conversational experience needs some planning. Identify top user journeys, build a business plan, design the persona for your experience, then write scripts, define what backends you would connect to power your experience, and then collect lots of feedback and make sure connecting to a human agent is as seamless as possible. Well, hopefully I have piqued your interest into DialogFlow. Check out and let me know what you think. You can reach me on Twitter at pvergadia or on LinkedIn and GitHub. And I encourage you to check out my YouTube series called Deconstructing Chatbots, where you can learn about chatbots starting from 101 level. And you can also find it at bit.ly/chatbots-series. And I cannot wait to see what you create. Thank you.